last one, but it was still a good one. And, I think our unit's making good progress, so happy with where we're at. We just got to keep on going.
What's the biggest concern that you have between now and camp closes? What's the biggest concern if you could fix one?
Staying healthy throughout camp. I'm sure most teams across the country have that concern. We've got some spots where we're more thin than others, and hopefully those aren't places where we sustain any injuries, but you're always concerned about your overall health as you get through camp.
You talk about the depth on the defensive line. I know that's been something that Chris is talking about, the concern there. How do you feel like guys rotating in the number and then the depth?
The numbers are fine there. We just got to make sure that we get a good evaluation from about now until the end of next week, and by that time we have to have a pretty good feel for what guys are in that group that could come into a Big Ten football game and play meaningful snaps and help contribute to us winning football games.
What's the ideal amount of guys rotating in?
Well, you'd like to be too deep everywhere, at all the positions that we have, and if you're not, then you just got to come up with some other personnel combinations that give you an opportunity to still be competitive. So we have to have contingency plans ready if that's the case.
I guess in that sense, linebackers, is that kind of maybe the plan to offset some of the issues up front?
Well, we already play with 4 linebacker types, as you know, counting that boundary overhang, defensive end / outside backer. Those 4 are already in place. Any other linebacker that gets on the field normally would be more of a pass rush, third down type of a deal. If it has to become a first and second down deal, then we'll have to have a conversation about how we're going to do that.
What's the competition been like at linebacker? Tyshawn and Trevor.
Really good, really good. We got 4 guys in there right now that I think all have a chance to compete and play. Rashawn Battle, who I think was an under-the-radar guy in the spring, had a really good spring, and he's making good progress these first several practices. Tyshawn, of course, you guys know about, and then Trevor and Deontay are off to a good start, making the kinds of progress that you would expect 2-year starters to make.
How do you get them on the field at the same time? One guy going to have to sit, or are you going to rotate them? What's the kind of the plan?
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I'd imagine we'll have a rotation of some sort put together. It's just really hard for a guy to play every down, all game, all year. Eventually somebody's either going to get worn down or hurt. So we'll have a plan in place, but how that rotation will work will be dependent on how close that competition is once we get to the end of camp.
How optimistic are you that Tyshawn can take on a bigger role after he was hurt for a lot of last year?
Yeah, again, I'll go right back to what I said. I think his rotation, his role is going to be dependent on, how big a gap, if there is one, between him and Trevor, or we may have to cross-train these guys too and have, the third best guy become either a Michael or a Will, depending on an injury situation or what have you. So it's going to be more or less of a 1, 2, 3, 4, not a backup to a particular spot. If that makes sense.
Sorry, how has Bless looked here again? A guy who lost a lot last season to a major injury. He says he's healthy. He looks healthy. Just what have you seen in him so far?
Really good, I think. He's covering well. He's changing directions well. He's doing a good job getting the football out at the point of attack. He's got a little ways further to go here to get to the end of camp. To say he came out of it healthy, but right now he's on pace, I think, to be right where we want him to be come game 1. Really happy with that.
Where do you guys stand at safety? You lost a guy. Kai Hester comes back unexpectedly. You moved Damon Hayes. How does that kind of look so far?
I think that position will be solid. Damon, as you guys probably know, transitioned into safety a little bit towards the tail end of training, or spring football. And got a start at least at learning the position then, and worked on it over the course of the summer, just studying and preparing, and then came at that position right away, day 1 coming into fall camp, and he's gotten off to a really good start, picking things up well. Came down the other day, made a nice physical play in the run game. He's going to be a guy who's going to stick his face in there and hit you, as well as be a good cover guy since he's previously a corner. So we'll be solid.
Kai Hester looks good so far?
Yeah, Kai's off to a good start. He's doing a nice job. He's running around making some plays and showing good leadership. Happy with where he's at.
Trevor Morris has had over 100 tackles the last 2 years. What do you attribute that to? Is it the system that you play where the will linebacker seems to, or is it nose for the ball? Is it a combination of the two?
It's all those things. People talk a lot about the Mike backer being the guy, the bell cow guy that, racks up all the tackles and all those things. And some cases that's true, some cases it's not. A lot of it has to do with how you shade your front, where D linemen line up, what you do with some of your movements, as far as stunting the line, things like that. But to Trevor's credit, you know, he's a hard-nosed, tough guy. Really understands his assignments really well, probably as anybody on our defense, and is a really good student of the game. So it's all those factors put together.
Have any freshmen caught your eye so far?
I'm sorry?
Have any freshmen caught your eye so far?
Yeah, you know, I'm not going to start talking about them just yet because we're too early in the process, but I wouldn't be surprised if there will be some guys that wind up on the bus or the plane in backup roles, and who knows, you know, maybe beyond that, but we'll see. And, you know, certainly in the special teams area, I know that we'll always be, with the new red shirt rule and all that, be looking to whether or not we can utilize some of those guys. Mm-hmm.
From a philosophy standpoint, how important is it to get pressure on the quarterback and, you know, disrupt them and, you know, maybe get more sacks this year?
Critical, absolutely critical. We didn't have enough sacks last year. You know, we did get good pressure at times, but obviously we need to do a little bit better job in that area so we can get a better third down success rate. But to say you don't worry about rushing the passer, of course we absolutely do. It's a necessity, and we're working hard on it both schematically and fundamentally and personnel-wise to try to get guys in situations where they have a great opportunity to do that.
I know what you said about the freshman, but Coach Ash has spoken pretty high specifically about Jared Paul. What have you seen out of him so far here in camp?
Jared's a long corner that moves well. He's got, you know, I think a lot of really good skills, a great skill set for the position. He's long limbed, so he's going to be able to press and do the things that we like to do with our corners. You know, again, we've only had 6 practices, so it's a little bit premature, but certainly he's made a good impression coming out of the starting gate.
We don't ask about him a lot, but I guess what has Isaiah Wharton maybe improved upon the most from spring ball to now, what you've seen so far?
Oh, boy, he's just such a solid, consistent player. You know, he's dependable down the field on deep balls. He's a great leader. He does a super job in the meeting room and in the locker room. You just can't have enough guys like that on your football team. I think so highly of him. And he's a good football player, too. That's all part of it. But got a lot of great intangible qualities, and just one of those steady Eddie guys that, like I say, you can't get enough of those kind of guys in your team.
Same type of question about Kevin Wilkins. You know, his versatility. You know, how much of a benefit is he on your defensive line?
Great. I mean, one time he's playing on the edge in one of our fronts. The next time you can put him in, you know, inside if you want to in a third down situation. Let him, you know, get some one-on-one set up to rush the passer. Kevin's had a great start to this camp and made a lot of improvement, and really expect a good year from him.
Just to go back to Wharton real quick, just how much does it benefit the young guys in the room to see a guy like Wharton who, you know, he's played a lot of games, he's stayed healthy, and, you know, he's been here for a long
It's
time.
huge.
He knows the ropes.
It's huge. It's everything. I mean, you've got to be able to see what it looks like to do things the right way. Yeah. And when you don't have that role model, you don't have that guy. Coach can stand up in the room and talk till he's blue in the face, but you can point to a guy in a chair and say, watch that guy. The story's over. All they have to do is follow that lead.
Coach Ash has talked about the defensive line needing to improve. What have you seen out of them? Have you seen any improvement? Any guys start to step up?
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a good job using their hands. That's something we always talk about. You know, whether it's pass rush techniques or whether it's just doing a good job, you know, being able to leverage blocks and then being able to get off blocks. You know, they're constantly working sled work, you know, bag work, drill work. Hand fighting techniques, you name it, everything we can think of, but they're making a lot of progress in that area. We felt like we made some significant steps between year 1 and year 2 there, but I do think you know, we're taking that up another notch, at least right now. So that's probably one of the biggest areas where we've seen that improvement.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks.